All right, my econ apostles, we're on the second part of the shifts of the demand curve. Today it's going to get graphic. It's going to get nasty because we're going to look at these stuff and we're going to put it on a graph. And I guarantee you, by the time this is over, you're going to know your shift. All right, let's get back into it. So we revisit ceteris paribus. We know that we've established in the past that the only thing that we're doing with the law of demand is ceteris paribus. We're just changing the price. So it's a movement along the curve, a movement, right? Change in quantity demanded. Then we looked at the last section, the things of change in quantity demanded versus a change in demand. So we're lifting ceteris paribus, and now there's other factors, other non-price determinants that can change the demand, thus increase or decrease the demand for a product. And we went over that, and that should be fairly simple. And then again, I threatened to inflict some damage and some harm to you if you didn't know the difference between a change in quantity demanded and a change in demand. Once again, you know, if there's a change in price, it's a movement along an original curve, either up or down along the curve, symbolizing a change in quantity demanded. Something else changes, we know that is a shift, or an increase, or shift to the right, or decrease, shift to the left. Then we talked about the SPITE acronym, and we know the relationships of demand between substitutes and complements. I don't have to go over that with you. We know population, we know income, and now there's such things called normal and inferior goods. Then we know taste, we know expectations, and all that stuff. Okay, yes, but now, once again, we're going to get serious with the nuts and bolts of any econ class and supply and demand curves, well, demand curves now, and we're going to graph it, and we're going to showcase what an increase or decrease is going to look like. And I alluded to that in the past. So let's say this is the demand curve for my Econ Avenger mask. All right, so again, you want to label. You want to label an original demand curve. So I always put D. So this one right here, this line, is the original demand curve for my Econ Avenger mask. So at $60, I could probably expect to sell 5 according to this. If I go to $50, I could sell 10. 40, I can sell 15, 30, I can sell 20, 20, I can sell 25, and 10, I can sell 30. Notice the law of demand. Notice this is quantity demanded. If I want to change the price from 40 to 50, that didn't decrease the demand for my product. It decreased the quantity demanded by 15 to 10, so by 5 it went. So now, let's look at these factors. Again, despite the non-price determinants or shifters, what happens if there's an increase? You can come up with all sorts of scenarios. Any scenario you can for an increase in the Econ Avenger mask. But we know if there's an increase in the demand, it's going to shift the curve to the right. Any damn curve, you shift it to the right means an increase, left means decrease. So, what does it mean? Now, it all depends on the degree of the increase in the demand. And sometimes your teacher will tell you that when you're drawing the graph. Sometimes not if they just want you to draw the big picture. So let's just say, what does it mean? Now, if there's an increase in the demand for my product, you now have a new curve. It goes from D, let's say, to D1. D to D1, if you look at the difference between here, let's say if my price was $60 before, people would want to buy 5. Now, the way that this looks is if I just go straight across, it looks like they'd want to buy 10. Wow, before they'd want to buy 5, now they want to buy 10. Well, wait a minute, it gets better. If I would have had a price of 50 with the original demand curve, they would have wanted to buy 10. Now they want to buy 15, an increase by, you guessed it, 5. If I would have charged 40, they would have wanted to buy 20 before they would have wanted to buy 15 with the original curve. So it looks like my demand is increased by 5, okay? If you think about it, at every price, okay? So there we go. So you just look at the numbers, plug them in. Now, again, I have an original curve here, and then you might want to label this as the new curve. I like to put D1, but there's more. You have to make sure that you showcase where you began and where you finished by giving me some arrows. So if I ever am giving some students a test and I say draw an increase in demand, well, if you just draw 2 curves, I don't know what the hell that means, but you got to tell me where you started and where you finished. Beginning curve, D, then I labeled it D1 to the new curve. Now, welcome to business. That's just what it means. If there's an increase in the demand, it just means that every price of what a business would charge, people would, in theory, want to buy more. And that's pretty good. Or, if you really think about it, if you wanted to sell the same amount, you could probably, you guessed it, since there's an increase in the demand, increase the price if you want. Now, that's your own choice as a business. So, again, so what it actually means, shifts to the right, increase in the demand, more would be purchased at every price. So, let's look if I would have a decrease in the demand for my mask. And again, I don't know how there would be such a logical thing, but a decrease would mean a shift to the left. It means that every price, for some reason, people now would want to purchase less. So here I go. I got my original one here. So before it's 60, remember I could sell 5. This is the original curve, D. What happened? Uh-oh. Now, let's say according to this new curve, the way that it's drawn, let's see the way it is here, at 60, I'm not going to sell any of them. Oh, no, nobody wants to buy any. Then I go at 50, I used to be able to sell 10, but now people only want to buy 5. At 40, I used to be able to sell 15, now people only want to buy 10. At 30, people originally wanted to buy 20, now they only want to buy 15, and so on. So it should occur to you that the demand decreased by 5 at every possible scenario of price. All right, so if I have my thing here, my trusty old marker, and if I was plugging this in for my teacher, whoever it was, I would have an original curve right here, and I would label it D. Then I would look, you know, the teacher might give you those numbers on a demand schedule for you to draw. So let's say original, this is the demand schedule for whatever product that it is, and now this is the new demand schedule. And then once you put them on a graph, you should be able to dictate or determine whether it's an increase or decrease in the demand. Go back to this. So after I did put those numbers from that demand schedule, I know that they lie to the left, which means that the demand decreased, and I have my original, and then I now simplify with the arrows that it has decreased. Okay, yeah, well, it looks pretty good. That is actually a short session today, not so bad. So, all right, well, get some practice in, get your hands dirty, and you'll be able to get this material, I promise you. All right, well, okay, till next time, I'll see you.